Welcome back, Butt Kick elitists, to the latest Butt Kickers broadcast. Imagination is our intention. Kick Butt is about mental empowerment and is dynamic and progressive to match today's challenging and fast-paced world to get rid of those bloody useless thoughts that hold us back. Butt Kicking Enterprise's mission is to raise awareness of how we are not powerful some of the time, that we are powerful all of the time, and to get this power working in your life for you. We have loads of exciting new ideas, products and services under development, and currently we are investing our energies in launching our global deliberate creation training camps, which are designed to provide participants with step-by-step techniques to accelerate past internal roadblocks so that we can get exactly what we want. Once you know how to kick butt, it's easy to have that life that brings you all that you've ever desired. You can get started today by registering for the free newsletter or check out the full range of products and services available at our fun website, www.kickbutt.com.au. For now, pause your pens and get ready to be transformed by the one and only professional butt kicker, the delightfully dangerous Rosie P. Carr.
Hello, budding butt kickers. Continuing on with how those people that are successful differ from those that are not, we're on to the segment now of that imagination is our intention. And that's what we're going to be following now. So expanding your awareness and evolvement requires no external movement here. It's an internal process of purely seeking and asking. And your focus is your intention. This is a journey of expansion instead of a journey of movement. It's not about where you've come from, it's about who you have become. So imagine if you could evolve the very code of life within you, your own DNA. And imagine that you could do it as simply as you breathe. What a gift that would be. What wondrous powers do we have laying dormant and unrecognized within our own reach? Well, this is what we're going to be tapping into. Because life is a series of constantly changing patterns of light or energy. Some people may be more used to using that term. Relaxing into this knowledge of how imagination is our intention will allow us to flow into form our heart's desires. This is a synergy dance. It's about abundance for those of us that are creating what we want, or maybe about happenstance for those that aren't so good at creating what they do want but are fabulous at creating more of what they don't want. We've recognized with our desires that we are fabulous creators all of the time, not some of the time. We are powerful all of the time, not some of the time. And we are powerful beyond measure. However, for most of us, we aren't consciously aware of just what we've got access to. Now, I'm going to use a term that most people will be familiar with. It's called return on investment, ROI. If you want to write this down, this is first off to explain and understand a little bit about our imagination before we access our imagination as a tool to implement it for our intentions. Now, return on investment, most will understand in the financial world is that, what we put in is exactly what we're going to get back out. However, we want to get more than what we put in. That's the value of a return on investment. This is exactly the same, except we're utilizing the realms of mind here. Our return on investment, or ROI, is actually an acronym. And the R stands for remembering, the O is for observing, and the I is for imagining. These are the three ways that we can actually create. We can either remember, we can observe, or we can imagine. And all of these states work equally to create for us. Now, we'll get the return on basically whatever we've put into our mind will come back to us. Whatever we're remembering and we're replaying from the past as experiences that we've had. If you've been in a relationship and that relationship has been what you may term as a bad relationship, and that's what you keep replaying in your mind, you see the scenes over and over, you add the feelings that you had over and over. And I know this story. I was once married to an alcoholic. So I ran so many scenes over and over in my head. The one night that he would stay out till all hours in the morning, all of a sudden I was recalling every night he'd ever been out till all hours of the morning. And I was running even scenes, again, then becoming creative and inventive of ones that I didn't even know were occurring or not. And you may identify with this in the realms of finances. You may have had an experience that you're imagining and seeing the absolute worst, but you're backing it up by what you recall happened in the past. So you're adding the fuel of events that have gone by into your current reality. And guess what? your current reality will then be. It's going to reflect exactly what you've put in. It's going to be more of those feelings. So if you're remembering all the stuff that makes you feel bad, this is not rocket science stuff. You're going to keep getting back all that makes you feel bad. So you'll get a return on whatever you're filling your mind up with. So you can choose to remember all that's bad, all that's gunky, all that's horrid in any realm, be it to do with relationships, be it to do with finances, be it to do with state of health and well-being, anything whatsoever. Your choice what you fill it up with. You'll get the return on what you're putting in. Now for the on, that's observing. You are on all the time. Your mind is on all the time. There is no off switch. You cannot escape your thoughts. It's like trying to outrun your legs. It simply just will not happen. So you are on all the time and you are observing so much. They say that we think about 60,000 thoughts a day. And that's for the slower models. So that no wonder at the end of the day we're going, phew, I'm absolutely buggered. Had a busy day. Well, imagine if all that you're observing whilst you're on is all that you do not want in your life. On top of, add that to everything you've been recalling, whatever's gone before in your life that you didn't want. It's pretty hard to have all of that happening and all of that filled up in your energy, in your own space, and feel good. This is our power. This is our choice. So whatever's happening in the moment, if you can observe it and become aware of it without buying into it. Buying into it is the term I use, and you know you've bought into it because you'll have an energy investment that does not feel good. It will make you feel sad. It will make you feel bad. It will make you feel angry. You'll be building a response in your head. You'll be replaying it over and over. You'll feel indignant. Whatever emotional response it's got that you do not like. So this is how you get to observe. 1, your return, you're remembering. 2, you're on, you're observing what's happening in the moment that you don't like. But the investment, the final strategy, is exactly what your imagination is all about. This is your ability to invest in you and your life, your future security, your future outcome, and your future results. This investment never ever stops. The beauty is of whatever's been before, the past is not going to be a predictor of the future. Unless, of course, you've heard it before, unless nothing changes. Then yes, your past is a very good indicator of what your future is going to be. Imagination works equally the same as remembering or observing. If you have a life that is not exciting you, that is not filling your heart's desires, I would strongly advocate and recommend you spend most of your time within this area and realm of mind to create what it is that you do want. Imagination is a tool and it can be utilized in 2 ways. The first way is being creative. The second way is being reactive. And we all know what reactive is, and that's seeing what's occurred in our environment. That's that return on. We're recalling, we're remembering, we're replaying. We're seeing what's on and we're not liking what's on. If you are liking what's on, that's good. That means you're investing then in your imagination and in a great future. Being reactive is creative, except we've lost the C. So if you get that bit of analogy, if you can lose what you see. So people say, oh, but this is my reality. This is what's happening. You want me to ignore the fact that I'm going bankrupt. You want me to ignore the fact that I'm about to lose a lung. You want me to ignore the fact. No, it is not about ignoring. It is about being aware that is what's current in your life. How much more do you want to make it current? Do you want to invest every single thought, 60,000 of them, with what you don't want? Do you want to spend more time, effort, and energy on what you don't want? Or do you want to get busy and start being creative and move out of those buts or bloody useless thoughts that you've been running over in your head that you excuse and justify and make room for what you don't want in your life? This is a choice. This is your power. You can give your power away. And most people get annoyed and say, but I never wanted to be bankrupt. I never wanted my partner to play up on me. I never wanted. Of course you didn't want it. However, how much did you want the opposite? There's a statement in life that like attracts like, and never is this truer than right at this time when we're attracting more of what you want. And you'll know people around you, if you've not had the experience yourself, that they talk about one bad event and then there was another bad event and then it went on and it just spiraled never-endingly downwards until they were splat. And again, in the reverse. People have had circumstances occur in their life where one wonderful thing happened, followed by another, and then another and another, and they couldn't believe it. They just thought it was so fabulous, all the things that were happening in their life. Like attracts like. If you're getting events and circumstances in your life that make you feel blur, you're going to have to learn to use some strategies and tactics that help you to change tracks. Now, these are programs we get ingrained with. Our imagination is a powerful, powerful force, and it will make real absolutely anything that we believe. Ideas are powerful, potent tools to help us in creating. And to understand a little bit about our imagination, we've got several other responses or residual effects. Like, for example, every time you have a single thought, it releases what's called a neuropeptide within your system. Now, every different neuropeptide has a different chemical response. So it is very real that you feel blur, my technical term for anything that is not positive and wonderful and good, or that you feel elated and excited. You have got the chemicals happening in your system. They've stemmed from the original thoughts. You are responsible for what thoughts are going in by what you either remember, what you observe, or what you imagine. They're your 3 areas of influence that you have, be they positive or negative. There's recognised within medical science today the effect of placebos on patients, and we've all heard of that, where people are given a pill and are told wonderful effects that it will have on their body. Group A is given a pill that has the real chemicals in it to create those real effects. Group B is given a sugar pill and told it will still create the exact same wonderful real effects. They discovered in their surveys that all of Group A had the effects and half of Group B had the effects, even though they were only given a sugar pill. There's also not just placebos, there's a thing called nocebos, which is the negative influence. Placebos is the positive influence. And again, from nothing more than a sugar pill. Tremendous people have accessed their imagination to create successful lives. So too can you. Walt Disney had an idea, as did Alexander Bell. So too Einstein, Thomas Edison, Bill Gates, Michelangelo, Louis Pasteur, Henry Ford, and the Google guys, and the man that made the post-it notes, actually a couple of men, Spencer Silver and Art Fly. They all used their imagination and had phenomenal results that they never knew where it would lead to at the end. Neither do you need to know where exactly it's going to lead you to the end. Right now, you've just got to start the how do I get it going to lead me to more of what I want instead of what I don't want. Some of you may have heard the story of Morris Goodman. I wrote about him in my first book, Time to Kick Butt. He's also known as the Miracle Man. You can Google him and access more information. Those of you that have watched The Secret will observe Morris as well, as he tells his story of being a successful businessman, however a terrible pilot. And in 1981, he crashed his plane, and in so doing, so severely damaged his body that they basically told him he would never do anything in his life again other than blink his eyelids, that he wouldn't breathe on his own, he'd never talk on his own, he'd never be able to eat and assimilate his own food, let alone move any other muscle other than blinking his eyelids. Fortunately for Morris, he knew that thoughts create your reality. This had worked successfully for him in business. He knew it would work equally as successfully for him within his own health. So he set about a program of small goals leading to his big term goal of walking out of that hospital on his own 2 feet. Now, as I said, I did write about this, so I'm not going to recap too much here, except for the Miracle Man is known that today because of the results that he got utilizing nothing other than his imagination. Abraham, which is a group of energies or entities, for want of a better word, that is channeled by Esther Hicks, talks and states that we as human beings have energetically more power that we can harness than 10,000 suns combined. That's 10,000 suns. The sun in the sky, that one, yep. As strong, as energetic and powerful as you think that to be, just let that resonate through your whole being, that thought right now, that you, hearing this, are more powerful than 10,000 suns combined. If that doesn't start giving you little goosies and getting your DNA going, woohoo, finally we're starting to tap into this, you're recognizing I have some power and I have some potency, your inner self will be excited to get to know that you can do far more than you currently have been doing. They say we use less than 10% of our mind, and that would no doubt be true. We understand that our mind or our brain is composed of many segments, but we talk about it commonly as being left-brained or right-brained, and they are specific areas designed for specific activities. Left-brained is often linear, is often rationale, all our arguments. Our right brain is far more creative, intuitive, and imaginative. It's more colourful. Left brain's more black and white. To utilise the whole brain is where our mouth comes into it. It manages to compile all the information we get, both left and right, mix it all up together, and then by the time it spits out our mouth, reveals what our beliefs are and shows more about ourselves than it ever will the topic we're discussing or who we're talking to. So understanding your mind is fairly visual. Like right now, don't think of the colour red. What did you have to do? We think in pictures. So the first thing we see is the colour red. So brain, we understand, also ignores the word don't. People will often use the term no problems, and it's a term I'm trying to get out of the habit of using at the moment, because I say no problems and it's a double negative. Brain doesn't understand no, and then it's just hearing me saying problems, 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 problems over and over. So that's something I'm releasing right now. If you think in pictures and you're unable to get a visual on something you do want, you will at least have feelings. You'll be able to incorporate the rest of your senses. You could almost smell it, like I'm a professional speaker. You could almost smell it. You could almost feel it. You might have a tactile response to it as opposed to a visual response. It does not matter. The fact that you're putting the effort in to start thinking towards what you want, brain, mind, energy, whatever words you want to use, doesn't affect how it's used. This is then stored for later access as well as ease of use. So understand that we have, what works against us is our buts, our bloody useless thoughts. We say, I want that but, and we stop it right there in its tracks. We also have what's called ruts, which is repeating those useless thoughts. And that creates a synapse in our brain, a shortcut pathway to get what we do want or what we don't want. Now, this neural pathway can be made into a neural highway if we're constantly thinking on what we don't want. And I recognize it in my own language, so I'll give it to yourself as a challenge to use for the next week, to observe the language you use. When you talk to people about something that you want, do you preface what you want by saying, I don't want the bus to be running late, or I don't want to miss out on getting there on time, so I want, we often say that, I don't want. Now remember, brain doesn't recognize don't, so therefore it sees the want of whatever you're picturing that you actually don't want. So you're creating more of that. So start to interrupt these patterns. That's our way of turning off what we don't want. And then we start to turn on what we do want by getting excited. Remember, you can observe, or you can imagine it. Makes no difference, but get excited about it. If you're going to remember past events in your life, remember ones that got you excited. Remember when you were that little kid, the first time you felt like you were the wealthiest, richest, most abundant kid on the planet. It could have been when you found 20 cents in the playground and you picked it up and you thought, woohoo, I'm loaded now. And you can't wait to get to the tuck shop to spend it all in one go. Recall whatever made you feel full of awe and amazement, incredibleness. These are wonderful events. Build on them. Make them up. This is a land of make-believe. And I would play on those words and call it a land of make-belief, because it's our beliefs that create. Beliefs are the blueprints that we have stored in our brain. If we can start changing these beliefs by identifying them, rectifying them, we then get what we put a blueprint in for. Like no builder would go and build a house without having first made a physical, tangible plan. Our brain, what we constantly imagine or remember or observe, is that plan, is that blueprint. So I'm going to be focusing on intention the next time we talk. I want to keep these short and sweet, so therefore you've got a small amount of information to act on to start to put into practice. So right now it's identifying the buts, it's utilizing our imagination to interrupt the ruts or repeating those useless thoughts that we have happening, and then focusing on what it is we do want and getting turned on. Make it up, make belief. It is sad the man who has no dreams. We're going to focus on intention next time to deliberately and specifically manifest, just like magic, all of your heart's desires. So remember what one has done, means it's what you too can do. We all came here with this same precious gift. So until next time, much love and all the best of butt kicking to you.
Take a peek at Rosie's website, www.kickbutt.com.au, for her amazing products and services. Remember, that's kickbutt with one T, www.kickbutt.com.au.